Okay, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday, and welcome to day two of 10x Your Launches. How are we feeling after yesterday? Jocelyn says, great start to the week. Thank you. Charlotte, I know you shared a little lovely comment in the Facebook group, so thank you so much. Stephanie's feeling good. Amazing, amazing, amazing. So, today we are talking all about the second part of what I really consider to be like the trio equation, if you like, of launching. And it's all about money, but we're looking at it from both a mindset and a strategic perspective. I love to blend mindset and strategy with everything that I do, every launch that I have, every new program, every innovation that I do, every cash injection that I do. I'm always blending mindset work with strategic work. And I genuinely think that is your secret superpower. So we'll dive into that very soon. First up, the champagne bucket is back, and there are some names in here of incredible people that have entered the competition to win a £500 voucher. So I've written all of the names into the bucket. Let's pick out a name. Is she alive? Yes, she is. I love it when they're alive. Stephanie, well done, lovely. Massive congratulations. So pleased for you. So, so pleased. So I will drop you a message. You did manifest that. Incredible. I'm so here for this. I will drop you a message and then we can get your voucher all sorted for you. And then there is one more opportunity to win another £500 voucher. Again, all you've got to do is just tag me on Instagram, do a little boomerang, do a little video, do a little picture. Try and make it so that I don't look too horrendous because I pull some wild faces. But yeah, pop it on Instagram. Make sure you tag me at the Thriving Businesswoman and I will pop your name in the champagne bucket tomorrow for your opportunity to win a £500 voucher. So very excited for that for you, Stephanie. So today we're talking about money, and I think this is one of those very important conversations that we don't really have. We don't really get brought up having these conversations. We don't really get brought up knowing anything about our money mindset. We don't get brought up understanding our beliefs about money. We just find ourselves in business and suddenly we start understanding maybe that we are blocking money, or we've got situations with money, or we've got some funky beliefs going on about money. And maybe yesterday's mindset conversation made you start to think about your own belief system and the beliefs that you actually have about sales, about wealthy people, about money, about overflow, about all of these things. And in our session today, I really want to help you take control and take ownership of your money mindset. Because your money mindset is your overriding attitude to all things money. So saving, investing, earning, spending, receiving, holding, your overriding attitude to all of these things is based upon your money mindset. So in this session today, I want us to really be able to dive into this so that you can just start to see where there might be some subconscious blocks that are holding you back. And then together through the mindset work that we're going to do, we can release those blocks. Now, one of the things that I really think about when I think about this is how our mindset, and particularly our money mindset, can have a massive impact on the success of a launch. Now, you can sit here and you can say to me, Tara, I want to make more money. And I'm like, yes, I'm here for this. You can say, I want to have X number of people in my program. I want to have X number of people in my membership. I want to have X number of people in my high ticket, low ticket, one-to-one, group. I want to sell X number of products. And that's incredible. But we have to then dig into the subconscious mind to make sure that there isn't any part of your mind that would want to block that. Because if you've got any subconscious beliefs that are coming up around overflow, around more money, around more sales, around more clients, your subconscious mind can actually block the flow of clients to you. So let's say, as a example, that when you were growing up, you heard your parents talking about the Joneses that live at the end of the street. And they had a couple of cars, they went on lots of bougie holidays, and your parents just didn't really like the way that they were with money. It wasn't that they were bad people. It was just that your parents just said something about, oh, the Joneses, they're off on holiday again. And as a young person, you were listening to this and you were picking up these beliefs. And let's say subconsciously, your subconscious mind then formed a belief that it's really bad to have overflow. Like if you have multiple cars, multiple trips, it's bad. Subconsciously, then, when you then go into adulthood and you then go into having your own business, your subconscious mind is still holding on to this belief. And it's holding on to this belief that's saying, having more than enough is bad. Earning lots of money is bad. Wealthy people, rich people, it's all bad. Because subconsciously, all your mind remembers when you were younger was your parents didn't like the Joneses. And it wasn't that the Joneses were awful people. It was just that your parents might not have liked them. And this is obviously just an example. Don't take offense if you're a Jones. This doesn't mean that it's only the Joneses, but it's just for the purposes of this story of actually really helping you understand where your beliefs come from. Now, one of the greatest, most profound things that you can do when we're at this point of starting to bring up our beliefs is to really recognize that, firstly, most of the beliefs you have today about money aren't even your own. They will have come from your parents or society or grandparents or family members or adopted parents or whoever raised you. And truthfully, that person or those people were doing the best that they could with the knowledge and skill set they had available. They didn't know any different. They didn't know what these flyaway comments actually do. They didn't know about the impact that fighting about money had on your belief system. They didn't know you'd go on to be such a driven woman that wanted to make a shit ton of money in her business. They had no idea. But they were doing the best with the knowledge and skill set that they had available. So, a really great exercise that I would love for you to do if you haven't already done this exercise is to really look at all of the beliefs that you have about money. And you literally write them all down. So, if you believe that actually you're listening to this and you think, okay, maybe I think that rich people are evil. Maybe I think that having more than enough is greedy. Maybe I think that it's okay for them, but it's not going to happen to me. Whatever beliefs you have, you write them all down. And then I want you to look at those beliefs and say, okay, well, where did this come from? Because if you can physically see and you can consciously say to your mind, I see that this came from my great aunt what's a word? Mavis. That sounds like a great aunt name. This came from great aunt Mavis. Maybe you recognize that something came from your Uncle David. And you're like, okay, so this belief came from him. What that does in the first instance is makes you realize it's not your belief. You've borrowed it. You've borrowed it for the purpose of getting you to this point. What I then want you to do is actually then say, well, what does this make me think about money? So let's say that you heard your parents didn't like the Joneses, and that belief was that having more money is bad, rich people are evil. You can say, okay, well, that came from my parents. What did that then make you think about money? Well, that actually rich people are bad. You are never going to want to be a bad person. You aren't going to want to be an evil person. So, what we then do is we reframe that belief and then you decide how money gets to be for you. You write out how you want to be around money. You write out how you want to be as a wealthy woman, as a woman that has more than enough, as the first wealthy person in your whole generation, as the first person to do a certain amount of things or achieve a certain thing in your whole family line. So you get to rewrite that story. And then the rewritten belief is what you give yourself every single day. And bonus points if you do it in your first waking hour after yesterday's conversation, when we had the realization, that's when you can really change your mind. Because in that first waking hour, your mind just absorbs. It doesn't know right from wrong. It doesn't know good from bad. It doesn't know fact from fiction. And it just absorbs and believes. So you can literally self-coach yourself through looking at what beliefs you actually have around money, what they made you believe, where they came from, and then we reframe them. We then think like, what are the beliefs that we want to have that are really going to serve and support you? Because if you have that belief that money is bad, rich people are bad, people with money are bad, people are evil, you are never going to be able to attract what you want and make the money that you want because your subconscious mind does not want you to be evil. Is this making sense? Pop a yes in the chat if it is. So we have to be able to really look at these beliefs that we have. Yes, yes, yes. Amazing. Love this. We have to be able to look at these beliefs because we then want to be able to stretch our capacity. Now, your capacity will be very unique to you. My capacity today is very strong, it's very stretched. I have a very wide capacity right now for the amount of clients that I can hold because my mindset is in such an incredible place. But when I started coaching back in 2017, I didn't know what my capacity was. I didn't know how many one-to-one clients I could have at any one time. I didn't know how many people I could have in a Zoom call at any one time. I definitely didn't know how many people I could have in a group coaching program because I didn't really know what the commonalities were, what the common questions were, what people really struggled with because I was so new at coaching. I was just doing one-to-one coaching, trying to figure it out. So your capacity will get stretched over time. And truthfully, the only way to work out what your capacity is through trial and error, is through getting a load of clients and then seeing actually if it stresses you out beyond belief, if it's too much for you. Because your capacity will be linked to your launches, to the amount of clients that you can hold, and to the amount of money that you can make. So let's say you say to me, Tara, I'd love to take on 50 clients this month, next month, Q1, whatever, 50 clients. I'm like, okay, amazing. Like this excites me. Let's map this out. Let's do the launch. Let's like get those people in. If in the back of your mind, you're suddenly then thinking, oh, but shit, that's a chunky number of extra people into my world. And what if three of them don't like my work? What if three of them complain? What if three of them default on payments? What if three of them want a refund? What if three of them don't get results? The question then becomes, can your mindset, can your mind hold that? This is the very real conversation around capacity. Can your mind hold that? Because if your mind can't hold that, then it's going to block those clients because it'll think, no, 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 it's not safe. If it's going to impact your self-belief, your confidence, your self-worth, how good you feel, then it's going to block that. So this whole conversation goes back to what we were talking about yesterday when we were talking about self-belief. If you can have more self-belief, more belief in you, more belief in your zone of genius, more belief in that you are the one doing what you do, then that's going to enable you to stretch your capacity. Now, let's look at another capacity example. And let's say you've got a high ticket package or like a one-to-one package or your highest priced product or service. And let's say today you put something out on social media and 5 people sign up for that top tier package. Can your mind handle that in your Stripe account? That coming into your bank account? Suddenly this influx of cash coming into your life. What then comes up from a mindset perspective? What then comes up when we think about that? If you were to have a 1K, 5K, 10K, 50K day, what then comes up with your mind? Because if your mind then thinks, oh shit, how do I hold it? What about tax? What about this? What about if one of my family members wants the money? What if, what if, what if? That's the mindset work that we need to do, is getting your mind into a place of feeling completely okay, at peace, at one with overflow, and knowing that you can handle it. So this is actually what's called your energetic minimum and your energetic maximum. So the energetic maximum is the most amount that you can imagine earning. It's the most amount of clients you can imagine having. It's the most amount you can imagine having in your bank account, in your savings account. It's the most amount you can imagine having in one day. And it's so important that we get comfortable with these numbers because when we have the awareness is the key first step to change. When we have that awareness, you can stretch it. You can say to yourself, okay, I recognize this is my current energetic maximum. Well, what about if I stretch it by £500 or £1,000? How do I feel then? Okay, I feel fine. Yeah, I can handle that. That's good. We're okay. What about 2,000 or 3 or 5? Oh no, that feels a bit much. So what you then do to stretch your energetic maximum is to say, okay, well, I felt like I could get behind 1, like 1,000. So I'll stretch it to that. And you commit to that. And then that almost becomes your new energetic maximum. And then you also have it at the other end of the scale. So there will be an amount of money that is like the least amount of money that you can imagine earning, receiving in one go, receiving from one payment or one client, receiving in one day, receiving in a month. Now, when I started my business, my energetic maximum was £1,500 a month because that was what I used to earn as a manager in hospitality. I couldn't imagine earning more than that because I hadn't earned more than that before. So the mindset work that I then did to be able to then earn a lot more than that in a month was really looking at stretching that, saying to myself, I've got this, I'm safe, I can handle this, and getting myself into this place of feeling comfortable to hold it. Now, you will also have this in terms of receiving payments from clients. So when I started coaching in 2017, I remember putting a power hour together. Somebody had messaged me saying, Tara, I love these results that you're sharing of like your social media management clients. Can you teach me how to do this? And I was like, yeah, of course. Say yes, figure it out. Story of my life. Coaching wasn't such a big thing back then. I didn't follow any coaches. I didn't follow any mentors. But I was like, say yes and figure it out. And I remember charging £75 for a power hour session. And I genuinely put about 10 hours into this session with prep, with writing notes, with going through his accounts, with driving from the Cotswolds to Bristol, hosting this event, which definitely overran, driving back from Bristol to the Cotswolds, follow up, checked in the next day, sent the notes. Honestly, I definitely put like 10 hours into that session. But at the time, I just thought, holy fuck, I'm being paid £75 for an hour? It's like, wow, I thought I made it. I was like, I've won the lottery, I'm rich. This is it. I've like hit the jackpot. 10 hours later, I'm like, okay, I was earning more per hour in hospitality, but there we go. But I didn't know that I could charge more than that at the time. And it got to this point where I was suddenly like getting quite a few people going through these power hours. I was still charging £75 throughout 2017. I was then putting a bit less time into them, but they were still getting incredible results. But I didn't really realize that I could charge more than that. My brain could not get behind the fact that somebody would pay double that, triple that, 10 times that for that same power hour, for that same offer. But I then started to realize that there was a capacity issue because in 2018, when I was suddenly really getting quite hungry and wanting to grow the business and wanting to go to those 10K months, I was like, well, I can't really do it at £75. So I doubled the price and put it up to £150 for the same power hour. And I remember thinking, I was like doing the sums in my head, and I thought, right, if I do a 10K month, I still had a few marketing clients at the time. I thought, I've got to do 66 power hours. I was like, fuck, that sounds like hell. Like, there's no way. Like, my audience wasn't very big at the time. I thought, there's no way that I've got enough people in my audience or enough time, to be honest, to do 66 power hours a month. When I was still at this point, definitely putting in more than an hour into the power hours. So I then started to think about what I could do to still help people, still deliver incredible results, but also be able to help me increase my chances of hitting that financial goal. And I actually reflected back on all of the coaching that I had done. So I've been doing like one-to-one coaching for about 18 months at this point. And I reflected back on all of the sessions. And what I noticed was that quite a few people were doing more than one session. They do one session on Facebook and get great results, and then want a session on email marketing. And then they'd want a session on SEO. Then they'd want a session on Instagram. Then they'd want a session on getting featured in magazines. And I was suddenly thinking, okay, so a lot of people are doing quite a few of these sessions. I was then able to put my first one-to-one program together. Now, I was actually on a call with one of my one-to-one clients yesterday. I was talking all about this whole journey. And I was talking about what specifically I did when it came to growing and launching that first one-to-one program. So I initially put it together to be an 8-week one-to-one program, and I charged £750. And at that point, I then shifted to messaging and the marketing around it being focused around the result. So I was no longer selling this program saying, you get 8 hours, you get 8 sessions. I was then looking at it as a package, and the result of the package was what I started selling. I then decided that actually my clients are generally, they always were, they always have been, and they are today, very busy people. So the 8 sessions in 8 weeks was a lot. Like these people were already busy, and I wanted them to get results. I'm such a results focused person. I'm like, I want these people to get results. So I then stretched the program out. I thought they don't really have much time to implement. So the 8 week turned into being a 16-week one-to-one program with a call every other week. And again, I kept selling it based on the result. Also, then brought in like the WhatsApp support between calls, accountability. They can ask me questions, and that was working really, really well. Until I realized that there were things that I was coaching on that I didn't really love. Things like SEO. Like, I'm not the SEO person. Give me social media, give me like organic content, give me sales, give me like launching all day long. SEO, I was like, even I'm bored thinking about this. So I decided to take that session out. I also took out the blogging session. Can't remember what else I took out, but I basically then did a bit of an overhaul of this session, of this program, and turned it into a 12-week with a call every other week. So for the 12 weeks, they had 6 calls, support between the calls, and that worked really, really well. But here's the thing, that was a natural evolution from when I put that first one-to-one program together in October 2018. That was a natural evolution for 12 months. And so many people get so hung up on needing the perfect price, the perfect package, the perfect thing that they then spend so long in the planning phase. They then procrastinate. They then get into perfectionism. There's like a triple B right there. Too long planning, procrastinate, perfectionism. And then they don't get into promotion. Throughout those 12 months of just continuing to build the one-to-one and continuing to become known for what was called the Mindset and Marketing One-to-One Program, trendy name back in the day, I was fine-tuning and elevating the whole time. I was always thinking about how I can make it better. I was always thinking about what was really going to serve my clients, and crucially, and this is so crucial if you're a service provider, creating transformation, not just information. I've paid 10 grand before to be in a program and it's just a whole bunch of information and no transformation. If you're a service provider, I want your clients to get transformations. I want them to get results. And I hope that you want that as much as I want that for you. But this was a continual journey. I think it's so important, whatever point you're at in your business, that you really become known for something before you innovate, before you create new offers. I literally did one-to-one coaching for 2.5 years before launching my first group coaching program in September 2019. 2.5 years of mastering one-to-one coaching. Then I did lots of group programs back to back. And I had this 12-week group program that I did back to back. It's called the Spritz Success Accelerator. Some of you here did it. Ellie, oh, hello. Like, I love that program. Literally did it back to back to back to back to back until about 2022. So again, there was suddenly 3 years of doing group programs back to back before I then thought about innovating and bringing in different things and doing topic specific programs. I want you to become a real master at something. I want you to be really known for something. And then you innovate, then you create, then you bring in new things. But I think it's so easy to get shiny object syndrome. It's so easy to suddenly see a new way of doing it or somebody you follow doing it a different way and thinking, oh, maybe I'll try that. Like jumping from thing to thing. I'm all about innovating and pivoting and creating new offers. I fucking love creating new offers. But I can do it now because I've built a brand and people know what to expect with the brand. But you've got to be known for something. This goes back to the zone of genius conversation yesterday, and you being the one, you have got to be known for what it is you do. And that requires repetition. That requires launching something over and over and over again and looking for like, okay, well, what went well here? What can I improve on next time? What went well, blah, blah, blah. What went well here? What can I improve on next time? What went well here? What can I improve on next time? And looking at continually doing that. But that requires a good mindset, a strong mindset, a growth mindset, because not every single launch is going to go as you want it to. Not every single launch is going to be on this upward trajectory. You might have a massive launch and then the next launch you do might drop down a little bit. I've had that myself. But again, I want us to be able to see that we are continually building. Now, a really great mindset that I would love for you to adopt when we think about your launches and we think about innovating your offers, creating new products, creating new services, is how you view the success or failure of a launch. So let's say you have a launch and it goes quite well. You've got a set number of people in, whatever quite well means for you. You've got 10 people, 20 people, 50 people, however many feels good for you. You're like, okay, that went quite well. One of the greatest reframes that you can do from a mindset perspective is to really see what went into that launch. So let's say, as an example, I do a launch, let's use 31 to Thriving. So in October, I ran a 31-day challenge. And within that, I launched a number of different products and services throughout it. And let's say within that, I think we had something like 250 people registered in the end. And let's say 50 of those bought, as a rough example. There's 200 people in there that didn't buy. I don't beat myself up about that because the way that I look at it is that might have been their very first experience with me. That might have been at a time when they were navigating their own challenges. They might be somebody that just really needs to get like a real good feel for somebody before they invest. They might already be working with somebody and not want to invest right now. But the way that I look at it is that that's perfect because they might buy in December 2025. They might buy in January. They might buy in 3 months. They might buy in 6 months. And guess what? I need sales then too. I want sales then too because I'm in it for the long haul. And I think so often people beat themselves up internally because they had however many people in a challenge, they had however many people watching their stories, and only this percentage of them bought. I'm like, how fucking wonderful is that? That you've got all of these people that have had a positive experience, I hope, with you. They've started to get a feel for your work, they've started to get a feel for what it is you do, and they might want that at a later date. If you're in it for the long haul, that is perfect. That is such an incredible thing. But I also want you to then almost be able to look at this conversation with a very strategic lens and actually say to yourself, when you look, and you can only do this when you've got a lot of data behind you, you've got a lot of clients, and you've been in business a number of years. But when you look at where your clients come from, you can start to see how long they've been following you. I love seeing this trend. Sometimes people meet me. So in was it October, I think, I spoke at an event called Magnetic Millions, and I met this lady called Sam, and she literally signed up for one of my programs 2 days later. That was the first time I'd ever met her. Sometimes it can happen really quick. I've also got a one-to-one client now who's been following me for 5.5 years. And now she's at a point where she's like, right, I've just handed my notice in. Let's build something incredible. And I'm like, amazing. But imagine if I judged myself, beat myself up internally, or got pissed off at her because 5 years ago she followed me and she didn't buy straight away. Like, I want your mindset and your energy around all of this to be so clean because you want clients in the future. You want people to buy from you in the future. That's so important. But it's so easy for your mind to judge the success or failure of a launch based on the number of people that signed up, based on the amount of engagement that you had, based on the feedback. Instead, I want you to look at it as pure logic. I want you to be able to assess the success of your launches in pure logic, not from an emotional perspective, not in a victim mentality perspective, pure logic, and actually look at it and say, okay, well, what went well? What can I improve on next time? I still do this to this day in every launch I do. The first time I did that exercise was January 2020 when that one person, remember Hillary? No, Hayley. Can't get the name right, that's bad. When Hayley signed up and I told you about her yesterday. And that was the first time that I did this exercise. So it is, how dare someone be ringing me now? Don't they know we're going live? Shocks me. So I want you to be able to really look at your business in this way. I never look at things like, what's the generic sign up rate from a challenge? I don't look at stuff like that. I don't really care for things like that. I just get myself into the right frame of mind, into the right energy. And I just think, how can I give people incredible transformation? How can I help them shift something, create something? I want people to have life-changing results from my free stuff as well as my 10K stuff and everything in between. But I want you to be able to see this again as continual evolution whilst bringing it back to your brand. What are you known for? My brand since 2019 has been known for mindset, money, and marketing. 6 years of being known for those things. And guess what the 3 pillars of this 3-day challenge are? Mindset, money, marketing. Because this is what works. But your pricing is a continual evolution. Your offers are a continual evolution. And there will be a point in your future where you're charging more than you can even comprehend right now. I now have a standard one-to-one package that's 7.5 grand, and that's an increase of 9,900% based on that first £75 offer. That's the standard package. Like, there are packages that are more than that. But if you had told me when I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and this fresh little chicken nugget coach in like May 2017 that one day I'd be able to receive that, not just charge it, but actually receive it for my work, I would never have believed it in a million years. I would have thought that you'd lost the plot or had been drinking gin since like 6 a.m. Like, genuinely could not have believed it. But again, this is a capacity conversation. That price has continually gone up as my mindset has gone up, my self-belief has gone up, my capacity to hold clients at a higher level has gone up. The things that I support my clients with now are massive. And when I just started social media coaching back in 2017, I never thought I'd fall into the world of mindset. I never thought I'd support people through divorce, fertility, legal things, depression. Like, I couldn't ever comprehend that. There was not a single part of me that would have believed that that could happen. But if you can commit to continually becoming the best version of yourself, continually growing, getting greater, evolving, and getting better client results, then there will be a point, and it could be a lot quicker than I got to this point, where you turn to me and you say, oh my God, Tara, I just had this however many £1,000 month. This client just dropped into my inbox. I've just had this payment. I just had this launch. I'm like, oh my God, yes. Like, I want you to be able to do it quicker than I did. That's the beauty of this work. But I want you to really start thinking about this. Now, the other piece that I really want to mention on this is detangling our worthiness with our price. It is really easy for comparisonitis to creep in around pricing. Let's say you're a photographer and there's people that charge £50 for a photo shoot, there's people that charge 5 grand for a photo shoot, and everything in between. It doesn't mean that one is good, one is bad, one is right, one is wrong. But when it comes to your pricing, this is linked to your self-belief, your capacity, and what you feel you can get behind. If you've been doing it for 10 years, you need to be fucking charging more than 300, 400, £500. You really do. And what I will say on that as well, and the photographer situation is a classic example of this, is that when you put your prices up, you will draw the people to you that see the value in that investment. But you have to see the value in that investment. You have to look at it as what the result is, what the finished product is. The fact they're going to have this gorgeous, beautiful piece of artwork on their wall. It's not just about having 5 low-res digitals on their Instagram. Like, they're buying the whole experience. I remember one of my clients saying to me a couple of years ago, she was charging, I think she was charging 495 at the time, 595 at the time. And it was a time a couple of years ago when there was a lot of talk about people not spending money. And she said to me, Tara, I'm worried. There's all this bit on the news and on Facebook about people not spending money. It was about this time of year, actually. And she said, oh, should I lower my prices? I'm like, no, you should put them up. And she said, yeah, but people aren't spending money. And I said, well, let's really think about this. Let's really look at your ideal client. Who is your ideal client? And she said to me, well, it's a woman. She's got 3 kids. They're all at private school. They probably go to Eton. Husband works in London at the banks. They live in the Cotswolds. They've got a swimming pool. They've got a tennis court. They've got a live-in groom. They've got however many horses. I'm like, they are not going to be impacted by what's going on. And that was where we had to really separate what she was hearing in the news, what she was hearing on Facebook, people talking about all of these things on Facebook with who her ideal client actually was. And then we had to do a little bit of a mindset work around actually committing and connecting to the value of the offer. She now charges a fair bit more than that. But there will always be people that are willing to invest at higher levels. I always love there's this little graphic that goes around on the internet and it's an artist example. And this artist is starting to draw, I think it's a horse or a dog. And you can see she started to put a lot of effort in. And then the question comes, can you do it cheaper? And then she finishes this drawing. And it's just like a 4-year-old has drawn it. It's probably better drawing than I could do. But it just goes to show that actually, as soon as someone says, can you do it cheaper? You just devalue the offer, devalue the finished product or service. But there will always be people that will pay you more than you are currently receiving, but they've got to see the value of the offer, as have you. And that's a mindset thing because there are people at every single price point for all of the offers. There's the CEO who wants to know how to find his perfect wife or his perfect or her perfect husband, who would really value doing that as quickly as possible and would drop 5K, 10K on it to an incredible dating coach versus somebody that actually doesn't value that because they're happy to just figure it out and blag it and think about it along the way. Same with products. There's people that will value a £5 throw from Primark, and there's people that would value a throw that costs several £1,000s from a designer brand. Same with meat, champagne, wine, like there's so many things. But again, this comes back to you knowing your value and you seeing the value in the offer. You have to see the value. You have to be able to get behind the price point. I remember when I fell into this world of mindset and at the time was charging £750. And my coach at the time was like, Tara, you should charge 10K. And I was like, oh my God, no. I was like, I can't. No, I can't. I couldn't get my head around that number because my mindset wasn't there, my capacity wasn't there, and I didn't see the value in what I currently offered to be able to create a result and a transformation at that price point. And now I'm like, oh, she was so spot on. But again, that's been that continual journey. But you have to be able to get behind your pricing. Now, I touched on this a little bit at the end of yesterday's call, but it aligns to this conversation so much. And that's the kind of potency, the conviction, the confidence, the energy that you have when you say your pricing. So many people will have a conversation with somebody about their product or their service, and they're like, oh my God, yeah, it's great. Like, this is what we do. These are some of the results. This is something I can help you with. And their energy is so high. And then they come to say the price point and their whole energy squashes. And they're like, it's £5,000. Oh, so they're like shaking inside, thinking, oh, fuck, what are they going to say? Your energy has to be consistent. Whether you're doing it on a Zoom call in like a masterclass, whether you're doing it on an Instagram live, whether you're doing it in person, if you're doing it on the phone, if you're doing it on Teams. I don't do Teams, but I think that is also video. However you do it, that enthusiasm you have throughout talking about your product or service has to match that price point because people buy based on emotion. And if your energy is up here when you're talking about what you do because you fucking love it and you think it's incredible and you're like, I am the one for this thing, this is great, this is my zone of genius, and your energy's up here, and then you're like, and the price point is £5,000, and your whole energy shrinks, the person you're speaking to will feel that. Do you think they're going to buy when their whole energy is shrunk from like, oh my God, this sounds great, I'm super excited, I'm optimistic about how this can help me, to suddenly like, ooh, that feels a lot. They're not going to buy because the emotion's gone. People buy more based on emotion than logic at all levels. Whether you're charging £111 or 10K, people still buy on emotion and they buy when they see the value in something. But for your people to see the value in your offers, whatever you charge, whatever you do, you've got to see the value in it. It's like if you want your audience to see you as the one, you've got to see yourself as the one. If you want your audience to see value in what you offer, you have to see value in what you offer at all different levels. Whether you are selling a low ticket, whatever that is for you, or a high ticket, whatever that is for you. Whether you're selling an in-person experience, a workshop, VIP day, retreat, event, or whether you're selling something that's on Zoom, you've got to see the value in it. And I want you to have so much passion and love and vigor for your offers because trust me, it's so much easier to sell something you love. Like so much easier. If you've ever been to like an incredible restaurant or seen a great film and you tell your friend about it, you're like, oh my God, you have to go and see this film. It's so good. Like you can literally sell them on going to see the film. I was telling my friend about the hotel I stayed in Florida. I'm like, I feel we need to go to Florida. Like, I want to go back to that hotel. It was so good. There was a champagne tap. Like, you get champagne on arrival. It was just right on the beach. It was gorgeous. It's called Clearwater. Oh my God, it's like Clearwater by name, Clearwater by definition. And I was literally selling her on that hotel. She was like, oh my God, we need to go. Like, yes, we do. But so many people don't then have that same passion and same vigor and same love of their own offers. If you were to sell your brand and sell your services as much and as well as you rave about a product or a brand that you love, you would make more money. So let that be a reminder and an invitation to actually really look at what parts of your offers no longer align, what parts of your offers no longer feel good. Much like when I had that one-to-one program and I was still coaching on SEO. I'm like, I fucking hate technology. Like, websites are not my thing. Absolutely not my thing. Why was I still coaching on it? But when I was trying to promote it, I was like, so we're going to do a session on SEO. I could even feel myself being bored just talking about it. So I knew that that had to drop. Is it uncomfortable dropping something that you've included for a while? Yes. There became a time that I had a 12-month mastermind that was 10K, and it got to a point where that didn't feel good anymore. And I paused it and I dropped it. And I was like, okay, is it uncomfortable dropping it when 20 plus people had been through it and it got incredible results? Yes. But it didn't feel aligned anymore. It didn't feel like the right thing for that time. So you get to keep pivoting, you get to keep innovating. And I just hope that you continue to have that passion, that love, that conviction in what you do, in your products, in your services, and that you see the value in it. Because when you can match that passion with the value, the sky isn't even the limit. Because people will feel it. People feel passion, they feel energy. Jocelyn put in the chat, money is energy. Absolutely. It is. Sales is energy. People feel it. So let this be a bit of a reminder and an invitation to come back to looking at your product suite, looking at your offer suite, and really starting to think about certain things that no longer feel good. That could even be certain times of the day that you work, certain times of the week, certain times of the month, doing certain things on certain dates. Again, this is all continual work that we're going to keep refining. But let this be your reminder, there will be a point in your future where you're charging more than you can even imagine right now. And how exciting is that? And there's a point where you have more people in a program or more people buying your products than you can imagine right now. And that's incredible. But we've just got to keep making sure that we're moving forwards with the right mindset. We're constantly being like laser focused, blinkered in our lane. It doesn't matter what anyone else is charging. There are coaches that pop on the scene and they charge £25 for a session. I'm like, okay, cool, you do you, hun. There are coaches that charge £500,000 for like 6 months of coaching. I'm like, wow, that blows my mind. But I'm so focused on me, my journey, my vision, my business, my clients, my message. That's what I want you to do. So take from this conversation whatever you want. The definite takeaway is looking at your beliefs, reframing those beliefs, the exercise that we spoke about at the beginning. Please do that exercise because I think it's going to really transform your whole belief system and your money mindset. Really know that actually this is continual work. I love that for us. I love that I'm always refining my offers. I'm always tweaking things, testing things, trying new things. Like, I love that. But behind it all is a brand. Behind it all is knowing who I am, what I stand for, what I believe in, what my zone of genius is. We're going to talk about that a lot tomorrow. But it really does align to your mindset as well. So before we wrap up today, would anybody like to unmute themselves, share any comments, questions, breakthroughs, anything that you would like my perspective on, anything at all? Feel free to unmute yourself if you would like to share anything. Go for it, Jocelyn.
Yeah, no, this session has been super powerful. Thanks, Tara. And I actually was thinking I have an offer coming out in 2026.
Mhm.
And if anyone has an objection, I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm like, what are you smoking? That's where I'm at right now. I'm like, this offer is so insane. It's almost like I have to tell everyone. So I can't tell you guys yet, but this is just reminding me. It's like, I'm so excited. I
Yeah.
want to buy this offer, even though I don't need it.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's where I'm feeling. So I'm just like letting you guys know, like, that's where I'm at with this offer. And this is going to make it so easy when I get out there. I'm going to talk about it because it's just like I'm feeling it so strongly in my body.
Yeah.
So wanted to share that.
And I can feel that from you. Like my heart's
Yeah.
like, "Ah." Like I can literally feel that. That's the level of conviction. And
Yeah.
to even be able to show up and be like, if you don't think this is great, you're smoking crack. It's
Yeah.
you've been on the gin too much. Like
Yeah.
literally own it. That's the level of conviction. I love this. I'm
Yeah.
so excited. I'm so excited to see that come to the world.
Thank you.
You are so welcome, lovely. Would anybody else like to share anything and mute themselves? No? Amazing. Okay, well, our final call is tomorrow at 11:30. It's going to be very strategic, but obviously we need to do all the mindset things behind it before the strategy because it's when you blend the two together that everything is going to work incredibly. Don't forget, you can enter the competition to have your name put in my champagne bucket to pick out tomorrow. Stephanie, lovely, I will drop you a message. Very excited. And yeah, just keep being fabulous. Do the mindset reframe exercise that we spoke about at the beginning. Show up today like your business is the greatest thing on the planet. Show up today like your offers are the most incredible offers on the internet. Like, own them. Show up with that conviction. And I can't wait to see it all. Thank you so much, Jocelyn. So kind. And I very much look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Keep being fabulous. And I will see you then. Mwah. Bye, everybody.